The Legacy Superhero Season 2, Episode 10, Legacy and Loss. I pushed myself to the limit, flying as fast as I possibly could. Everything around me turned into a meaningless blur as I went faster and faster. The sky became a blue and white blur, while the ground below me was brown and green. Ordinarily, if I was going this fast, I would have slowed down a little to make sure I didn't fly into anything, but I was too busy trying to make sure I got to the park in time to stop the assassin to worry about my own safety. I didn't even pay attention to the poison, though it helped that my suit seemed to be working overtime to remove the poison from my body. 5 minutes until you arrive in Rumsfeld City Park, Jack, said TW in my head. According to my research on the internet, Mayor Adams is expected to give a short speech at the unveiling of the new Harold Rumsfeld statue. The statue is going to be directly in front of the entrance to the park, near the parking lot. Thanks for the info, TW, I said. Let me know when I get there, because right now I can barely see where I'm going. Of course, said TW. Just keep going north and you'll get there eventually. I nodded, but despite TW's reassurance, I just increased my speed even more. I was pushing my flight powers to their limits, and I could already feel the strain on my body. The wind whipped through my hair and made my cape billow out behind me wildly. A part of me was afraid that if I went any faster I might tear my entire body apart, but I was willing to handle whatever the consequences of flying too fast were. Besides, what better way to figure out my limits than by pushing against them with all my might? Soon, the brown and green blur below me became gray and steel, a sign that I had entered Rumsfeld's city limits. I half wondered how I would look to the people below. Would they even be able to see me, or was I going too fast for the naked eye to follow? It was an interesting question, but one I had no time to ponder if I was going to stop an assassination. We're here, said TW suddenly. Stop. I came to an abrupt stop in midair, causing my cape to fall over my head. Pushing my cape off my head, I looked down to see that TW was correct. I was floating above Rumsfeld City Park, which looked as green and pretty as ever in the mid-morning sun. I saw a few people milling about the park today, but my attention was drawn to the park entrance to the south, where I saw a large statue underneath a thick veil surrounded by a couple hundred people. I even saw the van for the local news station, which told me that the media was definitely here, though I didn't see Mayor Adams himself yet. Looking around, I tried to see if I could spot where the assassin might be. There were a couple of buildings located across the street from the park entrance, both of which seemed like likely locations for an assassin to camp, but I couldn't tell which one might be the place. One of them looked like a 2-story bakery of some sort, while the other appeared to be a government office, probably the main office for the park employees. I knew that if I didn't pick the right building, the assassin would kill Mayor Adams and get away, but it was hard to tell which one was going to be used by the assassin. TW, which building do you think the assassin is going to use to shoot the mayor from? I said. If I had to pick, I would say the 2-story bakery, said TW. Assuming he is going to snipe the mayor, it would offer the sniper an excellent vantage point from which to shoot the mayor with few, if any, obstructions. Bakery it is, then, I said. I began flying toward the bakery, but then I heard voices below and looked down at the statue. A man had walked onto the stage in front of the statue, a middle-aged man in a blue suit, who I recognized as Mayor Adams. He was waving at the assembled people as he took his place behind a podium on the stage. No one seemed to realize that an assassination was about to take place, which meant that I had to be even faster if I was going to stop the assassin. Hey, Jack, look in the upper right window on the 2nd story of the bakery, said TW. Is that a gun? I looked at the window he indicated and realized that TW was right. The barrel of a gun was poking out of the window, shining under the rays of the mid-morning sun, and it was aimed directly at the mayor. Damn it, I said. No time to stop him. Have to protect the mayor. I changed my trajectory, heading toward the stage itself below. I had no idea how far along in his preparations the sniper was, but if I could get the mayor off the stage in time, then I might be able to avert a real tragedy. The only question was whether the sniper would shoot once he realized I was there, or if he would give up and try again some other time. As I flew toward the stage, I kept glancing at the gun, which was being moved slightly, no doubt the sniper aiming it just right. And none of the hundreds of people assembled in front of the stage below seemed to notice. Even Mayor Adams, who was giving a speech, paid no attention to the gun in the 2nd story of the bakery that was aimed at his head. The mayor's eyes were fixed solely on the crowd assembled before him, as he spoke about how glad he was that this great statue was finished and what a wonderful addition it would be to the Rumsfeld City Park. Maybe it would or maybe it wouldn't, but I knew that Mayor Adams' death would not be a wonderful addition to anything. With a final burst of speed, I tackled Mayor Adams to the stage. Just as I tackled Mayor Adams down, a gunshot suddenly rang out and people started screaming and shouting. The assembled crowd began to riot, with people running this way and that trying to find their way to safety. On the edges of the crowd, I saw police officers simultaneously trying to calm everyone down while also trying to get to the stage where the mayor was. Looking down, I said, "Mayor Adams, are you all right?" Mayor Adams, who lay stunned with shock, nonetheless shook his head and said, "What happened? I thought I heard a gunshot." "You did," I said, getting off of Mayor Adams. "An assassin tried to kill you in order to frame me. It's a long story and I don't have time to explain. But..." "Wait," Mayor Adams interrupted as he sat up. He looked at me in fear. "Oh my God, you're Trickshot." "Yeah, I am," I said. "You." "Help," Mayor Adams shouted suddenly, throwing his arms into the air. "Please, someone save me. I'm being held hostage by Trickshot. Help." No one in the crowd paid him any attention. Even the cops, who were still trying their hardest to get to the stage, did not seem to hear what he just said. "You idiot, I just saved you," I said, grabbing Mayor Adams' collar and forcing him to look at me. "You nearly got shot." "Shot?" Mayor Adams said, who sounded like he was in a daze now. "Shot by who?" "An assassin," I said. I pointed up at the second floor of the bakery. "See the gun poking out of that window." Mayor Adams looked at the bakery and frowned. "I don't see any gun." I whipped my head toward the bakery. Though the window was still open, the gun was no longer sticking out of it. I immediately realized that that was because the sniper had decided to run away. No way was I going to let him escape. I shot toward the bakery, ignoring the startled cry of Mayor Adams and the screams and shouts from the people below me. I smashed through the window on the second floor of the bakery and landed on the floor just in time to see the nearest door slammed shut, as if someone had just escaped. "Oh, no you don't," I said. "Get back here." I punched the door hard enough to send it flying off its hinges and into the wall on the opposite side of the hall. Stepping out of the room, I saw the sniper was already halfway down the stairs heading toward what appeared to be a back door, taking the steps two at a time in an effort to escape as quickly as possible. I pulled 3 discs out of my pouch and shouted, "You're not getting away this time." I then hurled all 3 of them directly at the sniper. But the sniper jumped the last few steps, and kicking open the back door, rushed through it without hesitation. My discs hit the floor uselessly, making me curse and fly down the steps toward the back door of the bakery, which I smashed through without hesitation. There he was. The sniper was running toward a yellow car parked about a dozen feet away from the back door, carrying his guitar case with him. Actually, his sniper rifle wasn't even in its case. He was in such hurry to get away that he was just holding the sniper rifle in his right hand, gripping it with such intensity that his knuckles were white as snow. I flew over the sniper and landed on top of his car hard enough to make the car buckle under my weight. The sniper skidded to a stop and turned to run in another direction, but I flew toward him, grabbed him by the collar of his shirt, and spun around and slammed him as hard as I could against the door of his car. The sniper dropped his case and rifle and grabbed my arm, but his grip was weak, and he was clearly too dazed from being slammed against the car to fight against me effectively. "It's over, sniper," I said, my voice full of anger. "Soon, everyone is going to know the truth, that you killed Baron Glory and framed me for it. And you'll probably spend the rest of your sorry little life behind bars for it, too." The sniper's eyes were full of fear, like he thought I was going to snap his neck and end his life here and now. Given all of the trouble this guy had given me over the week, I was tempted to do just that, but I knew it would be better to hand him over to the police and let justice be served. "Trickshot," a familiar voice above me shouted. "Let go of the man and step back." I looked up at the roof of the bakery and felt my heart sink. Bugbite was flying above me, riding on his giant wasp, whose buzzing was so loud that I wondered how I had not noticed it before. "Bugbite," I said in surprise. "What are you doing here? And why did you tell me to let go of this guy? He's the killer." Once Bugbite's wasp was close enough, Bugbite jumped down and landed on the street with a 3-point landing. His giant wasp, on the other hand, continued to hover above us like some kind of watchful guardian, its buzzing so loud that it was a miracle any of us could hear it all. Rising to his feet, Bugbite pointed at me again and said, "I'll just say this one more time, let him go." But he tried to kill Mayor Adams, I said. He's also the same guy who killed Baron Glory. You've got to believe me. All I see is a known criminal assaulting someone who may be innocent, said Bug Bite. He glanced at the sniper rifle on the street. Though I must say, the sniper rifle doesn't help his case. It's not mine, said the sniper hurriedly. He nodded at me. It's Trickshot's. He was trying to flee after shooting the mayor and... He's lying, I interrupted. Don't believe a word that comes out of this guy's mouth. He'd kill you just as quickly as he'd kill me. He's a paid killer. You can't trust anything he says. Bug Bite folded his arms across his chest like he was trying to decide who to believe. I will let the courts decide who is the actual killer and who isn't. For now, I will bring both of you into the police, per my job as the superhero of Rumsfeld. If either of you resist, I will use the minimum force needed to take both of you down. Come on, Buggy, I said. I know you don't like me, but this is ridiculous. It's not ridiculous, said Bug Bite. It's the law. Now either come quietly or I'll be forced to get violent. Bug Bite gestured at his giant wasp above. The wasp's buzzing grew even louder, though whether it was out of excitement at the thought of attacking criminals, or because it was angry, I couldn't tell. All I knew was that there was no way I was going to jail, though I had to admit that I wasn't fond of the idea of fighting Bug Bite's pet wasp, either. But it was clear to me that there was nothing I could do to convince Bug Bite to let me go. I decided I would just comply with Bug Bite's request, at least insofar as he needed me to let go of the sniper. Then I would fly away and leave the sniper in Bug Bite's hands. So I let go of the sniper's collar and stepped away from him, holding my hands up and saying, All right, Buggy, I'm letting go of the guy. See, he's perfectly safe. Bug Bite nodded. Thank you for your cooperation, Trickshot. Now I need both of you to stand still and let me put on these handcuffs so I can take you to the... Bug Bite didn't get a chance to finish his sentence because the sniper pulled a handgun out of his pocket and aimed it at Bug Bite. The sniper pulled the trigger and a deafeningly loud blam echoed through the alleyway. Bug Bite fell to the ground, shouting in pain, while the sniper turned his gun on me next. But I had already recovered from my shock and without hesitation, slapped the gun out of the sniper's hands and punched him directly in the face. The sniper collapsed onto the street, next to his fallen sniper rifle, blood leaking out of his forehead, where my fist struck his head. I would have checked to see if he was dead, but I was more concerned about Bug Bite, so I ran over to Bug Bite and bent over him, saying, Bug Bite, are you all right? Can you hear me? Bug Bite? There was a bloody bullet hole in Bug Bite's chest, pretty close to where his heart was, but then I heard Bug Bite gasp and say, I'm in pain. The bullet. I know, I said. Don't talk or move. I'll get. I was interrupted by the sound of dozens of footsteps coming from around the corner. In the next moment, half a dozen police officers rounded the corner of the bakery and came to a halt when they saw the scene before them. What's going on here? Said one of the officers, looking from the giant wasp to the unconscious sniper and back again. What happened to Bug Bite? Hey, isn't that Trickshot? Said another officer, pointing at me. What's he doing here? We'll find out soon enough, said the first officer. He pointed his gun at me and snapped, Move away from Bug Bite, with your hands up or we'll shoot. Oh, I looked down at Bug Bite, who still seemed barely conscious, and realized just how bad this situation looked. I probably looked like the bad guy here, even though I hadn't done anything wrong. Great. It looked like my reputation was going to go down the drain no matter what. I might as well get out while I could. Before any of the police officers could stop me, I launched into the air and flew away as fast as I could, ignoring their shouts for me to come back. 1 week later, I sat alone in my favorite booth in Rumsfeld Coffee, sipping my coffee as I scrolled through my phone's news feed. Every now and then I'd look around to see if Uncle Josh was here yet, but so far I had seen neither hide nor hair of him, despite the fact that he told me that he was going to meet me here for breakfast. Then again, I had gotten here 5 minutes early, and I understood that Uncle Josh was not a particularly punctual man, from what Mom told me. I gotta admit, though, I was a little annoyed about him being late, because as much as I enjoyed Rumsfeld Coffee and the coffee they served, I felt awkward sitting here by myself in a booth that was designed for more than just one person. But you're not alone, said TW in my head suddenly. I'm here if you're bored. I mean physically alone, I said, and I'd rather not talk to you right now, because that would just make the workers think I'm crazy, especially the cute barista who served me my coffee. Very well, said TW. I'll continue to keep an eye out for Uncle Josh, then and let you know if I see him approaching. I nodded briefly before returning my attention to my phone. My eyes were drawn to a particular headline from the Rumsfeld Journal, which read thus: Alleged assassin of Baron Glory sentenced to life in prison for murder. I couldn't help but smile at that, but I didn't bother to read the article because it probably didn't have any new information in it that I didn't already know. After I defeated the sniper and saved Bug Bite, I learned via the news that the police had arrested the sniper, whose real name was Damian Jamie, an infamous assassin wanted in over 20 countries for the murders he had committed, and got a confession from him regarding his involvement in the murder of Baron Glory. It helped that the police searched Damian's clothes and car and found evidence that basically confirmed that he was the sniper. As a result, I wasn't surprised to see a headline that confirmed that Damian was going to prison for a very, very long time. Personally, I thought he deserved the death penalty for everything he did, but I guess a life sentence is the next best thing for a scumbag like him. What really surprised me about all of this, though, was Bug Bite holding a press conference a couple of days after Damian's arrest, in which he told the police and the media that he did not think that I was the assassin. I mean, now that the police had the actual assassin and all, it was inevitable that they would stop accusing me of killing Baron Glory, but I didn't expect Bug Bite to actively come to my defense. I had avoided Bug Bite this week by not wearing my costume at all, mostly because I was afraid that he still hated me and wanted to arrest me, but I guess Bug Bite must have changed his opinion of me for some reason. I wished I could talk to him and find out for certain what made him change his view on me, but maybe it was for the best, because even if the police didn't want me for the murder of Baron Glory, I was still an illegal superhero. That was a crime in itself, which would definitely make Bug Bite hunt me down one of these days. Regardless, my respect for Bug Bite went way up when I saw that press conference. It also made me sad because the way I saw it, in another life, Bug Bite and I could have worked together to defend Rumsfeld, but I guess that was never going to happen. Ah well, at least no one thought I was a murderer anymore. Anyway. Another good thing to come out of this mess was Mayor Adams. Apparently the footage of me saving him from being sniped went viral, to the point where the initial video had more likes than dislikes on YouTube by several orders of magnitude. There were a ton of positive comments about that cool guy who saved the mayor, helped especially by Mayor Adams publicly acknowledging that I had saved his life in an interview he did with the Rumsfeld Journal. I wondered if that was why Bug Bite changed his opinion on me. After all, Mayor Adams is his brother and I saved his life. In any case, things were finally starting to look up for me, which was great, because I had been worried that things would just get worse and worse. For a while, there was a very real chance that I would go down in history as the murderer of Baron Glory, but maybe now I would be remembered for something else. It was nice to think about, at least. "Your uncle is coming," said TW suddenly. "Look." I looked toward the door just as Uncle Josh pushed it open and stepped inside, his arrival announced by the tinkling of the doorbell. He wore a simple black button-down shirt and jeans today, which made him look like an ordinary office worker coming in to get his morning coffee, but I still remembered how tough we looked when he barged into Marge's basement with the Atlas glove and took out Mohammed. It was an image that was hard to forget. I waved at Uncle Josh as he walked over to my booth. "Hey, Uncle, what's up? Haven't seen you in a week." Uncle Josh slid into the seat opposite me smoothly and shrugged. Not much. I'm just staying in a hotel outside of Rumsfeld right now, though I'm checking out later at lunch so I can go back to Pinnacle headquarters." "You mean you're actually leaving this time?" I said suspiciously. "Not going to come back and save my life at the last minute? Not that I minded that, but you did say you were going to go away the first time and didn't." "This time for real," said Uncle Josh with a chuckle. "My boss is expecting me to bring back the Atlas glove fairly soon, and the longer I'm away, the more annoyed he's going to get. And trust me, you don't want to see my boss when he gets angry." I would have asked Uncle Josh who his boss is, but I knew that Uncle Josh probably wouldn't tell me anything about Pinnacle, because as far as I could tell, Pinnacle was just as secretive as Icon, if less overtly malicious and evil. Besides, it's not like that kind of information would be particularly helpful for me to know anyway. "Right?" I said. I sipped my coffee again and said, "Should I tell Mom and Dad about this or—" "No," said Uncle Josh, shaking his head. "Not yet. No one is supposed to know I'm an agent of Pinnacle. Even you aren't supposed to know. Agents who reveal their affiliation are usually punished harshly for their disobedience." I gulped. "Does that mean you are going to be punished?" "Only if I tell my superiors that someone outside of Pinnacle knows my identity," said Uncle Josh. "But I won't. I'll come up with some other excuse for why I was late and won't mention you even once. Just like how I won't mention your secret identity to anyone else either. I nodded. Makes sense. I hate all this secret keeping, though, even if it is necessary. Can't say I'm too thrilled about it, either, but that's the life we've chosen, said Uncle Josh, leaning back in his seat with a sigh. Or the life I chose anyway? The one you chose, maybe not so much? No, I chose it, I insisted. I glanced at the trickshot watch on my wrist. Maybe I didn't plan for it, but I did choose it, and I'm determined to follow through with it to the bitter end. Yeah, I could tell that back in Marge's house, said Uncle Josh, nodding. You have the look of a real superhero in your eyes. I can see why Gregory sent you the watch. Thanks, I said. Speaking of Marge's house, I haven't gone back since you rescued me from Mohammed there last week. How are things there? Uncle Josh shrugged. As well as ever, I guess. Mohammed got away when I wasn't looking, unfortunately. I tried to track him down, but he managed to lose me in the countryside, so I have no idea where he is. I imagine he's probably already back at Icon's base, no doubt reporting to Chaser on the failure of his mission. I would love to be the fly on the wall for that conversation, because Chaser is even less forgiving of failure than my own boss. Then, Uncle Josh leaned forward, a mischievous smile on his face. But you're more interested in learning about what happened to Ashley, right? I blushed and looked down into my coffee. Well, yeah. I mean, not that I like her or anything, but given how Marge died, that means Ashley is on her own. Uncle Josh chuckled in a knowing way before sitting back. She's going to be fine. Marge's funeral is supposed to be tomorrow, which I won't be able to attend because I'm going to be out of the city. From what she told me, it sounds like Ashley is going to inherit the house, which is completely paid off, by the way, from Marge, though she's apparently going to live with her aunt who lives on the other side of the state. You mean she's just going to leave the house as is? I said. No one is going to live in it anymore? Not full time, that's for sure, said Uncle Josh. But Ashley did mention something about letting you use it. I told her you don't seem to have a base of your own. I do, I said quickly. It's just, currently not very good. So she asked me if you would be interested in using Marge's old house as a base of sorts for your superhero career, Uncle Josh finished. You wouldn't have to pay rent or anything. You could just go and stay in the house whenever you need a place to stay or rest. You'll be guaranteed privacy, too, so you won't have to worry about someone accidentally stumbling upon you when you're taking your costume off or whatever. Wow, really? I said in surprise. That's awfully generous of her. I'm interested. All right, said Uncle Josh. He pulled a folded-up piece of paper out of his pocket and slid it across the table toward me. This is her phone number, which she asked me to give you so you could call her about the offer. You can also use it to schedule a date with her. I took the paper, but frowned when Uncle Josh mentioned scheduling a date. I didn't know you were into matchmaking, Uncle. I'm not, said Uncle Josh. I just think you and Ashley would go great together. Besides, you're 16. It's high time you found yourself a girlfriend, wouldn't you say? I was interested in getting a girlfriend. That was true, but I had never been able to gather up the courage to ask a girl out. I wasn't sure if I wanted to date a girl like Ashley. Ashley was cute, I guess, but somehow I didn't think she liked me that way. Besides, it was kind of weird to hear my own uncle trying to set me up with a girl, even if he was just trying to help me. Sure, I said. So is this all you wanted to do? Give me a girl's number and tell me to ask her out. Uncle Josh shook his head. That's only part of the reason I called you up. I have one last thing to give you before I leave Rumsfeld today. Here it is. Uncle Josh pulled another folded-up piece of paper out of his pocket and slid it across the table toward me. I picked up the paper curiously and unfolded it, only to see a lot of numbers that made no sense to me. I looked up at Uncle Josh, frowning. Did you just give me a math problem? Because if so, that's a weird parting gift. It's not a math problem, Uncle Josh said in annoyance. Those numbers are the coordinates of Icon's Island base in the Gulf of Mexico. Your friend TW should be able to use those to locate the island base so you can go there yourself. I immediately held the paper closer to my chest, like it was my firstborn child. You're not serious. I am, said Uncle Josh. Those are the coordinates I used to find the island myself, and they should work for you. That's what I wanted to leave you. But why? I said. I mean, I'm grateful for it and everything, but this is still really weird. This seems like too important information to just give away. But I'm not just giving it away, said Uncle Josh. I know you're trying to find your grandfather, and I know that he is on Icon's base. I didn't see him when I was there, but that was because I wasn't looking for him. You, on the other hand, might be able to find and even rescue him, though you'll have to do it on your own, because I won't be around to help you. I looked down at the numbers written down on the paper in my hands again. Now that Uncle Josh mentioned it, these numbers didn't look quite as random as I first thought, though I still couldn't understand them. But TW undoubtedly would be able to, which meant that, for the first time since I became a superhero, I had a very real chance of rescuing Grandfather. "Thank you," I said. "I don't know why you did this, but—" "Because I know how much finding your grandpa means to you," said Uncle Josh. "And besides, we're family, aren't we? Gregory might not be my grandfather or even related to me at all, but he's still family, and family helps each other. This is how I choose to help my family." I was almost choked with emotion, but I managed to push it down and say, "Thanks again, Uncle. I don't know how I'll ever repay you." "The only way you can repay me is by not getting yourself killed," said Uncle Josh, waving a finger at me sternly. "I'm not always going to be there to save your tail, so you should try to be a bit more careful when you're fighting Icon. All right?" I smiled. "Sure, Uncle, whatever you say." Uncle Josh nodded before a small beep from his pocket made him pull his phone out of his pocket and glance at the screen. "Oh, looks like my ride is here. Time for me to go. Say goodbye to your mom and dad for me." Uncle Josh rose from his seat and left the cafe before I could say anything. I turned in my seat to see what his ride was, but to my surprise, I couldn't see Uncle Josh through the clear windows of the cafe. It was like he had just stepped out onto the street and vanished. Sitting back down in my booth, I looked at the paper with the coordinates on it again, running my index finger under the top row of numbers softly. "Well, this is a surprising development," said TW in my mind. "I didn't think we'd get these coordinates so quickly." "Can you make any sense of them?" I said. "Yes," said TW. "I'll need to look at them a bit more closely, but I can already tell that these are exactly what we need to find Icon and rescue Gregory. Your uncle was very nice to give this to us." "Nice?" I said. "He was outright generous. But anyway, I need you to analyze these coordinates as fast as possible." "Why?" said TW curiously. "Is it because you want to save Gregory?" I smiled, this time more widely than before, as I looked down at the paper on the table. "Partly, but also because we're going to war again, and this time we're not showing any mercy to the other side." The end of The Legacy Superhero Season 2. Thank you for listening. The story continues in The Legacy Superhero Season 3, Episode 1, A Superhero's Revenge, coming soon.